Hello, how's everybody doing today? Weather and Toilet Liker 8802 here, and welcome back to another video. I haven't tried to upload in a while. Sorry about that. I was too busy with school and studying for finals, semester finals, and all that. Anyway, but here it is, the exciting final 2019 to 2020 winter outlook. Before I go into this video, I'd like to say that I am sorry this is very late. I'll try to be more punctual with my winter outlooks in 2020, which is the year coming up. And I'd appreciate any more subscriptions to my channel so I can reach 125 subscribers by New Year's 2020, but that's probably not going to happen. That is okay. Try to express how you feel about the video by clicking the like button. If you don't like it, that is okay. Of course, you know the drill about comments. Nice ones and constructive criticism are welcome. Negative comments will immediately be removed. Another thing about comments, I will read every single comment you viewers have, but I might not get the chance to respond to all of them. A couple other things before I start. This overall forecast is valid from December 2019. I should have put December 21st, 2019 to February 29th of 2020. This will be the final winter outlook I will be making for the 2019 to 2020 winter season. I may have made some minor inaccuracies in creating the outlooks as I did make them using the Microsoft Paint program, like the preliminary winter outlook. And this is only a forecast, so this is nowhere near perfect. This video was inspired by YouTuber users Direct Weather and MBGC Combo. I give both of these users credit for inspiring me to make this video. The probabilistic ENSO outlook. This was last updated November 14, 2019. CPC synopsis, Climate Prediction Center synopsis. ENSO-neutral conditions are favored during the Northern Hemisphere winter 2019 to 2020, about a 70% chance. Continuing through spring of 2020, a 60 to 65% chance. So it's fairly likely that we'll have an ENSO-neutral winter. The Climate Prediction Center / IRI ENSO model predictions. This was last updated on October 18th, 2019. A neutral ENSO is sea surface temperature, or SST, anomalies of minus 0.5 to plus 0.5 degrees Celsius within average, within minus 0.5 to positive 0.5 degrees Celsius of average. ENSO alert status is inactive as of November 2019. That's probably because we're entering a neutral pattern. What an ENSO-neutral winter pattern looks like. So this map here shows what the typical ENSO-neutral winter pattern looks like. Typical conditions. Polar jet streams dive from the Arctic Circle southeastward to the Midwestern U.S., creating cold conditions north of the jet, or roughly in portions of the northern and eastern U.S. Pacific jet streams start in the Pacific Ocean and then extend to coastal areas of the northwestern U.S. Warm conditions will typically exist across much of the southern U.S. and a little bit of the western U.S. as well. Subtropical jet streams start in the Pacific Ocean, creating wet conditions across portions of the southeast U.S. That's this little green area here, in addition to the warm conditions already in that area. Subtropical jet streams merge toward the Atlantic Ocean. Subtropical jet streams merge with polar jet streams toward the Atlantic Ocean, which will create an Atlantic jet stream. Sea surface temperature anomalies. This map right here shows the sea surface temperature anomalies. When it comes to the sea surface temperature anomalies, the region that we care about is the western coast of Peru. As of the last update, anomalies in this area range from minus 0.5 to as much as 2.0 degrees Celsius below average. This was last updated October 2nd, 2019. Sorry if I omitted a letter in the word coast. That was a little typo on my part. I'm sorry about that. But then again, this is my outlook. Now we get into the really exciting part of things. The Climate Prediction Center temperature outlook for December to February 2019 to 2020. As you can see here, equal chances for above normal temperatures will exist across much of the central and northern U.S., even as far south as northern Arkansas, all the way up to the Canadian border, to as far north as the Canadian border, which is about into the U.S. extends. And also slightly to much above average temperatures for Alaska, 50, 40, 40, 33 and 40. Those numbers indicate that how much above or near or below average temperatures are forecast to be in the given time period. And the A's indicate above average, EC's indicate equal chances for above, near, or below normal temperatures. The Climate Prediction Center precipitation outlook for December to February 2019 to 2020. As you can see, above average precipitation is pretty prevalent across Alaska, with the entire state, pretty much the entire state being in it except for this little part. And above average precipitation is also prevalent for much of the northern half of the country. I like to say half because that's my approximation. About roughly the northern half of the country, excluding New England, excluding much of New England, which is in equal chances for above, near, or below normal precipitation, as is the Southeast, the Southern Rockies, and Northern California, with all areas from Southwest Oregon and Northern California all the way through much of Oklahoma, Northern Arkansas, and all the way to the Southeast and Southern Mid-Atlantic, where there's still equal chances. Now we start to get into the below average precipitation anomalies as you work your way further south. Below average precipitation across much of California, into south central and southwestern Arizona. Again, those little numbers indicate how far above, below, the percentage of above, below, or near average precipitation for the given areas inside the contours. The Climate Prediction Center temperature outlook January through March of 2020. Winter technically runs from December 21st to March 19th. Anyways, you can see that much of the western and southern U.S. is in above, at least slightly above average temperatures for that period, with slightly to much above average temperatures also prevalent in Alaska during that period. But then we start getting into the equal chances, where above or where near or equal chances for near, below, or above average temperatures, I should say. That's what all those EC symbols indicate. All those A's indicate above average temperatures, and and then we start getting into the below average side of temperatures, which is pretty much in the north, which is pretty much favored for the north central U.S., at least slightly, from northeast Montana all the way through all but the far eastern part of the Great Lakes. And that's what that only sole B indicates, is below average temperature. The Climate Prediction Center precipitation outlook. January through March 2020. Slightly above average precipitation is prevalent, 33 to 50% above average, as well as parts of the northern U.S. Notice this has shifted a little east. Notice it has shifted a little to the east. It has been squished, has been reduced in area a little further to the east. Above average, and then equal chances extend from the Pacific Northwest down through the Central Rockies, including Utah, Colorado, all the way through portions of the northern portions of the Deep South, and then back up through the Mid-Atlantic and New England. That's where you're going to see your equal chances for near, above, or below normal precipitation. And then we start getting into the below average precipitation. At least slightly below average precipitation is favored from central and southern California all the way through portions of the Gulf Coast states, excluding southern Florida, which is also an equal chances precipitation. This is my winter 2019 to 2020 seasonal outlook. It might disagree with the Climate Prediction Center at least a little bit, but that's okay. Well, so we start things off with above average temperatures, talking about those. Those extend from slightly above average temperatures, extend from central and western Washington state, southeastward through much of Arizona, into southwestern New Mexico. But we have a little bit of above average temperatures for Florida and southern Georgia, but that and then we have a more noticeable area of above average temperatures from southwest Oregon through almost all of California, far western Nevada, and southwestern Arizona is where you're going to see the most above average temperatures overall this winter. Now for areas, generally along along or slightly west of the Rockies, including eastern Washington State and northeast Oregon, and much of Idaho, all the way through Utah, southwest Colorado, and all the way into the western Gulf Coast states, and then back out into the portions of the southern Mid-Atlantic. So you're going to be seeing equal chances for temperatures to really go either direction. Now along and east of the Rockies is where you're going to experience at least slightly below average temperatures. I'm going to talk about those a little more in detail. So you can see that slightly below average temperatures encompass areas from much of western Montana through southeastward through Colorado and Oklahoma, down through eastward through Arkansas and portions of the Arklatex, and then all the way up, and then curving all the way back up through Mid-Atlantic and New England states is slightly below average temperatures this winter. And then central Montana all the way to the Great Lakes and northwest. I think that's Vermont, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think it's almost certainly Vermont, but still not 100% sure. Anyways, areas from central Montana downward down to far northern Arkansas on the Missouri Boot Heel, all the way up, and then going back up into northwest Vermont, below average, moderately below average temperatures, but well below average temperatures extend from eastern Montana all the way through almost all of the Dakotas region and into northwestern Wisconsin, northwestern Great Lakes region, and the Minnesota Arrowhead, is where you're going to be seeing a far below average temperatures this season. Now, this is the key determining factor in my snowfall outlook. It held temperature and precipitation both determine which dictate precipitation type. So we start things off with talking about below average precipitation. Below average precipitation is common from southwestern or extreme western, south central to southwestern Oregon, all of California, pretty much all of California, western Nevada, and a sliver of Arizona is where you're going to be seeing slightly below average precipitation. Areas from the Pacific Northwest through the central and southern Rockies, all the way eastward to roughly the Mississippi River, is where you're going to be experiencing equal chances for near, above, or below normal precipitation. Now you start getting to the really exciting part of things, above average precipitation. I find that exciting because it means more precipitation. Anyways, slightly above average precipitation extends from roughly the eastern 2/3 of Montana through to the western Great Lakes and the UP of Michigan. Oh well, of course, except for Lake Michigan, the shorelines of Lake Michigan, through Illinois, and then almost doing a horseshoe shape, like a good dog leg, through far western Kentucky, far western Tennessee, far northwestern Alabama, much of Mississippi, and pretty much southern and eastern Louisiana is experiencing slightly above average precipitation. And then anywhere pretty much along and near and east, pretty much the entire eastern third of the U.S. is gonna pretty much at least much of the eastern third of the U.S. is going to be experiencing moderately above average precipitation, or from Wisconsin and the LP of Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee to Alabama on east to the Atlantic coast. Now this is the most exciting part of winter. I know most of you like snow, like seeing snow, and I'm among you, and I'm among that group. And anyways, this is my final seasonal snowfall anomaly forecast. You can see below average snowfall extends from southwestern Oregon through western Nevada, pretty much all of California, and the sliver of southwestern, west central, and southwestern Arizona. Because of above average temperatures and below average precipitation, you're obviously not going to be seeing much, if any, snow this winter. And then we start talking about equal chances for precipitation from the Pacific Northwest through the Rockies, bypassing the Appalachians and down to the forests, and then down to the portions of the Carolina, much of the Carolinas region, is equal chances for near, below, or above normal snowfall. And the eastern 2/3 of Montana, all the way through the west, roughly the western half of the Great Lakes, and then along the eastern seaboard and surrounding the Appalachian Mountains, we're going to be seeing slightly above average snowfall. And then areas pretty much along the Appalachians and interior New England is where you're going to be experiencing moderately above average snowfall, probably because of the nor'easter storm track. Now I decided to include something interesting, the storm tracks. Storm track 1, Alberta Clipper. Well, as the name implies, this track, the low, forms in Alberta, then tracks southeastward through southeastward through the north central U.S., then eastward through the Ohio Valley, and then curving back up back towards eastern Canada, which will bring a stripe of light to moderate snow over portions of the northern U.S. Then the Miller B nor'easter. It starts off as a clipper, then it starts off as a clipper, but then starting right about at the Ohio River is where things really start to vary over a distance. Like northern Ohio could see moderate snow. Areas along and north of the track will see some sort of snow or wintry precipitation. Light to moderate snow across the north central U.S. and Great Lakes. Moderate to heavy snow along the coast of the northeast. Mid-Atlantic's a small portion of the Mid-Atlantic and the Delmarva region, seeing icy precipitation, icy conditions, messy wintry mix, and then portions of southern Virginia and northern North Carolina seeing just rain. These are just typical storm tracks. Now the Miller A nor'easter is totally different. The storm track starts off in the central Gulf Coast and then moves northeastward, well off the Atlantic and New England coast. You can see it brings, and then but it does rain just rain for the southern and eastern U.S. and the eastern portions of the Carolinas, east central Alabama, all the way through the far southern portions of the Delmarva region, southeastern portions and far southern portions of the Delmarva, seeing a wintry mix out of a typical Miller nor'easter, and then areas from Tennessee into the interior northeast and basically also along the Appalachian Mountains, seeing at least light snow, with the heaviest snow typically in the northern Appalachians to interior northeast. Now the Appalachian runner, and this red barrier burgundy line represents the storm track. Is typically starts in the lowest typically forms right. Let me draw this out. And then this low pressure area originates in Mississippi, bringing all rain for all of the eastern seaboard and coastal northeast, southwestward through the southeastern U.S., and then as far west as southeast Louisiana and Mississippi and southern Tennessee. Will typically see all rain out of an Appalachian runner system. Portions and parts of far eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina, as well as central New Hampshire and into the northern and western Maine, interior Maine into central New Hampshire and far eastern Tennessee to western North Carolina will see some sort of wintry mix or icy mix, with areas roughly along the Appalachians and Ohio valleys, and into west into much of New York we'll see at least light snow, with the heaviest extending from West Virginia to upstate New York. Well, if you wanted the final forecast, here it is. Well, I'm going to break it down region by region. The western U.S., California and Nevada is going to be drier than normal. Region 1. Region 2 is going to be warmer, which basically encompasses much of the western U.S. Region 3, which encompasses pretty much the entire Rocky Mountains and entire Rockies area. Mountain snows will be common. Region 4, which stretches from central Montana to the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles and eastward to central Nebraska and Kansas, we'll see fluctuating patterns. Purple is very cold, region 8. Magenta is Arctic blasts. The most concentrated of the cold will usually be from eastern Montana all the way to far northern Iowa and western Wisconsin and almost all of Minnesota. And with Arctic blasts penetrating as far south as roughly the Kentucky-Tennessee border, and as far east as the Ohio Valley, roughly. Region 6 is going to be the winter battle zone, where it won't be really much of a snowy events. Just rain, maybe some snow, maybe some frozen precipitation, or a mix of some or all of them. but just expect an overall sloppy winter in terms of precipitation. 5, I didn't put that in a special color because that's about average conditions, eastern New Mexico to central Oklahoma and central Texas. The winter battle zone extends from southeast Kansas, eastern Oklahoma to much of the Carolinas. This Arctic region 7 extends from eastern portions of Nebraska and Kansas all the way to roughly the Ohio Valley and Kentucky-Tennessee border. Region 8 extends from east. I don't need to describe that because I already told you how it extends. Region 9 is going to be above active lakes, so above average lake effect snow. So the lakes of the UP of Michigan, the Western LP, Lower Peninsula, as well as the lake shores of northern Ohio and northwest Pennsylvania and western and upstate New York, above average lake effect snow. Region 10 is just going to be wet. Pretty much no snow at all for these regions from eastern Texas all the way through central Georgia. Region 11 from much of Florida through southern South Carolina is going to be wet and stormy and warm. No winter storms or snow at all. Maybe just a lot of rain and thunder. And region 12 surrounding the Appalachians is extending from eastern Kentucky and eastern Tennessee, wrapping around the Appalachians, and then going up all the way through the Mid-Atlantic, Delmarva, and coastal Northeast. That's where you're going to see big coastal storms from potential, and lake nor'easters, and all that. 13, I saved this one for last. It extends along the Appalachian runs along the Appalachian Mountains into the interior Northeast and extends into northern Maine. So these regions are going to be seeing the worst of winter, like the worst snow, the most snow, the most cold. And anyways, drier than normal for the west. For region 1, warmer than normal for region 2, light gray mountain snow for region 3, changing conditions for region 4, near average for 5, winter battle zone 6, Arctic blast zone 7, bad cold region 8, very cold region 8, above average lake effect snow region 9, wet for region 10, warm and wet, and perhaps stormy for region 11, coastal storms for region 12, and worse winter for region 13. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.